Good morning, everyone. It's Chris here at Blue Rhino Safaris. This is a picture from the Artemis project of NASA, their latest moon project. And give me a second to explain why this is such a cool picture. I was looking at this picture and I realized that this little blue dot in the background, of course, is Earth. Now, if you look at the picture of the Earth, then you realize that the clouds that's on the Earth is not just random. The clouds all have a pattern, and this pattern means something. And what it means is that our climate has a certain predictability to it. And what has happened in the last 2 or 3 years is that we have moved around the world into one of the Earth's biggest climate effectors, and that is our El Nino Southern Oscillation, they call it, ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. It's the El Nino La Nina cycle. Now, I'm going to quickly explain it to you so that you understand what it's about, but it will affect 2 of my trips of 2023. The first one will be the Orange River trip. We are in a strong possibility of a La Nina event for next year. The events run from the beginning of the year, first half of the year, for a full year cycle until the next first half of the year. So that's normally when they start determining whether we are in La Nina, El Nino, or neutral. But La Nina will affect our Orange River tour. It will make it more spectacular. Why? Because we have more rainfall. More rainfall means the rivers are swollen more, the dams are full, and in February, when we go out on the Orange River trip, it will be spectacular with the amount of water coming down the Orange River. The second trip that it will influence is the Lesotho trip. If you do Lesotho snow in the winter and it's a dry year, you're not going to have a lot of snow. But if you have a wet year, then you have more snow. So the tours become a little bit more spectacular, a little bit more snow, because Lesotho can be very dry as well. So those 2 tours for next year, I'm predicting, are going to be really, really good tours, for the reason that we are having a La Nina event. So just quickly, what is the La Nina event? And then I'll go onto those tours and just show you where they are and what they look like. I found this video on YouTube and it quickly explains exactly what it's all about. So the biggest role player on the planet is the sun. The sun heats the surface of the air, it heats the water, and it penetrates down to a certain depth in water, and it will start heating the water. Now, it will mean that the top of the water is warm, the top section, and the bottom is cold. And if you're a scuba diver, you know that there's a section in between that you can actually feel when you're diving, and this is called the thermocline. Now, the thermocline is that specific separation between the warm water at the top and the cold water at the bottom. Now, what happens is, in the Pacific Ocean, the water on the American side is cold. Cold water creates cold air. Cold air is heavy, so you have a high pressure system. And then on the Australian side, there's a low pressure system because the water there is warm. Now, if you have high pressure, low pressure, then the winds flow in the direction of the low pressure. So that top layer of water is now being driven by the winds over from the American Pacific side to the Australian Pacific side. So more warm water goes to the Australia side. It means the warm section above the thermocline is bigger, and the warm section above the thermocline on the American side is smaller. And this creates what is called a Walker circulation, our normal rainfall patterns every year. So we have all this warm water on the Australian side in the Pacific. Now, one of the theories is that there is now slippage. Anything that you put on top of each other, you stack, has a certain slippage angle where it will just slide away. Sand, gravel, anything. So the amount of warm water that you have sitting on top of the cold water now close to Australia, at some point will slip. And this slip will mean that the warm water will be pushed back to the Pacific side. Now, the cycle takes long. It takes 2 or 4 years to happen. And this means that the water on the American side with the warm water coming this way, now becomes warm. The warm creates a low pressure system. Then Australia has the high pressure system, and therefore the winds change. And the winds now blows the normal trade winds that goes from America to Australia, now goes from Australia to America. It pushes the water in that direction, and now you have a warm area. And that changes where the rainfall happens. And that just means that La Nina has now swapped over into El Nino, which means the warm and cold changed sides. And the rain isn't here anymore, it is now moved that side. So it's not a big thing, it's a normal event for the planet, but it affects our rainfall patterns. So a neutral year for us would be a normal year, but then we are going to have a La Nina year next year that is predicting at 76% possibility to have a weak La Nina, which is good for us. A strong La Nina means a lot of flooding and a lot of loss of crops and things like that, where a weak La Nina will give us just a good amount of rain. And our dams are already full, so the Orange River is going to be in flood. So February, we're going to have a great Orange River. Let me just go onto the website and show you that those two tours that will be affected by it. First one will be the Mighty Orange River. In February next year, it's going to be a great tour. The dams are already full, so all the rain we're going to get in January and February will be going down the Orange River. Ugrabis will be a sight to see. The Orange River will be in all its full glory next year with this prediction of La Nina. The second trip that will be influenced is the Lesotho luxury tour. 4 nights in lodges. We should have good snow next year, so I'm predicting a very good Lesotho tour as well. So if you haven't booked for those 2 tours, get your bookings in and make sure that you find a little spot to do that for next year. Next year will be good for the Orange River. It will be good for Lesotho as well. Otherwise, have a great day. Get your bookings in. If you have any questions, please ask and we can address it quite soon. Otherwise, have a great day. Stay safe. Cheers.